Few ordinary pennies carry tales more surprising than those stamped 1983. As copper-plated zinc discs that changed how every pocket cent weighed in, they've become the subject of late-night roll hunts and hushed exchanges among seasoned collectors. Today, our focus lands squarely on these seemingly mundane cents, revealing how striking missteps at the mint and leftover bronze planchets turned everyday change into auction block stars. Lincoln's portrait has gazed from our 1-cent coins since 1909, but the true revolution came in late 1982 when the U.S. Mint swapped solid bronze for a core of mostly zinc with a thin copper exterior. That tweak shaved off nearly a gram per coin and saved millions in metal costs, yet it also set the stage for a duo of errors. Early in the new process, some bronze blanks from the previous era found their way under the press. The result? A handful of cents that weigh the heavier bronze standard and ring with a brighter tone when tapped, betraying a secret alloy inside. Around the same period, a small run of reverse dies shifted imperceptibly between hubbing stages. On those handful of coins, the lettering of United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 cent shows a ghost of doubling, as though the words were stamped twice with slight misalignment. Dubbed the 1983 double die reverse, this variety presents hefty, squash shadows behind the letters, an error that leaps out under even modest magnification and sparks excitement at first sight. Collectors chase both varieties, the hefty bronze survivors and the eye-catching doubled dies. Bronze planchet pieces tip the scale at about 3.1 grams, roughly a quarter heavier than their zinc counterparts, and they display a deeper, more muted copper tone. Under white light, their reddish surfaces lack the bright sheen of a plated zinc cent, instead echoing the warmth of the older memorial design. Their scarcity is tied to the overlap of old and new inventories in early 1983. Once the supply of bronze blanks dwindled, the mint refined its process, and no more slipped through. Meanwhile, genuine double die reverses have that unmistakable blur behind each letter, especially visible on the crisp lines of 1 cent. True examples boast bold shadows that blend into the field, and the strongest show doubling wide enough to spot without any tools. Fakes and weak strikes abound, so savvy collectors compare against certified examples or trusted photographic references before committing. When these rarities surface at auction, price tags often boggle the mind. A top-grade bronze planchet in Mint State 65 recently reached the high 5-figure mark, driven by both its weight anomaly and superb surface. That same event saw an MS 68 double die reverse smash through its estimate, climbing into the mid-4-figure arena. Lesser grades still command respect. Circulated bronze examples in about uncirculated condition trade around $3,000 to $5,000, while mid-grade double dies, even with light wear, can fetch several hundred to over $1,000 depending on eye appeal and strike definition. Value swings dramatically with condition. A heavily worn bronze planchet might only draw a few $100s if scratches and circulation marks obscure its luster. In contrast, a flawless MS 66 specimen, showing full cartwheel sheen and crisp strike detail, can double or triple that figure. Double die reverses follow a similar trend. An MS 67 example, with bold, unbroken doubling and full red coloration from the copper plating, represents a hot ticket at shows and online platforms. Lower-grade pieces, where doubling appears faint or surfaces bear bag marks, still interest specialists and often trade hands for low to mid-3-figure sums among dedicated error coin collectors. To spot genuine bronze carryovers without a scale, an experienced ear and eye do wonders. A soft tap on a glass countertop yields a muted tone. Unlike the brighter zing of a zinc core cent visually, the color of an authentic 1983 bronze is deeper, almost resembling earlier 70s memorial cents. And when it comes to double dies, a loop at 10 power makes the mistake obvious. Letters bulge and merge, giving the reverse a three-dimensional cast that ordinary strikes never achieve. Certification changes the game. Grading services like PCGS and NGC assign numerical grades from MS 60 through MS 70, while qualifiers such as RD, Red, indicate fresh copper luster. A bronze planchet certified MS 65 RD offers reassurance that its weight and color are original, and those graded MS 67 or higher can command prices few Lincoln cents ever approach. Collectors often shy away from raw examples unless they can test weight and composition themselves, so encapsulated coins with a thorough grading tag consistently top the market. More than numbers and nitpicks, these coins carry personal stories. A dealer once recounted a weekend trip to a rural coin show where a retired engineer opened a folder of 1983 cents, discovering a bronze planchet straggler. He traded it for a modest stack of common pennies before reluctantly parting with it, only to see it sell weeks later for $5,000. Another collector, rummaging through rolls at a bank, noticed an odd blur behind the date and spent hours chasing down its pedigree, finally securing a double-die reverse certified MS 67 for under $200, a deal that now ranks among his most prized acquisitions. When preparing to hunt for these 1983 treasures, focus on well-preserved problem coins in original mint red surfaces. Check weight with a digital scale sensitive to 1/10 of a gram, and listen for the ring test to flag bronze planchets. 4 double dies. Scan each reverse under magnification, lingering on the arcs of E pluribus unum and edges of 1 cent. If you spot strong shadows or unexpected heaviness, send the coin for third-party grading before considering a sale or trade. Every pocket full of change could conceal a piece of mint history, a relic of 1983's economic choices and mechanical quirks. These pennies remind us that even mass-produced currency can carry the thrill of discovery. With keen eyes and a little patience, experienced collectors can turn a jar of cents into a showcase of rare anomalies, each coin reflecting a moment when human error and design intersected to create something truly unexpected. With the 1983 penny story laid out, from its bronze holdovers and double-die marvels to its auction heights and grading nuances, it's time to shift focus to another hidden gem, the Lincoln cent of 1989. That coin, born amidst a fresh set of challenges and boasting its own set of surprises, carries forward the spirit of discovery sparked by its 1983 predecessor. Shifting gears from that misaligned Lincoln like a secret puzzle piece, let's zero in on a penny that quite literally fell broadside off the press. In early 1982, the U.S. Mint was still transitioning from the traditional 95% copper planchet to the newer copper-plated zinc core, a change born of economic necessity. As millions of those fresh zinc cents passed through the machinery, a handful slipped through before the collar fully closed, resulting in wildly misaligned strikes. Those coins, known today as the 1982 broad-strike error pennies, have become modern legends, a moment when a common cent stretched into numismatic stardom. Back in January and February of 1982, the mint's presses were adjusted to accommodate the lighter zinc-based blanks. That meant tweaking the collar that holds the planchet in place while the dies stamped Lincoln's portrait. If that collar opened a fraction too wide, the blank would expand outward under the die's force, creating a broad, thin coin with a raised rim that extends well past its normal 19mm diameter. These were never intended. They slipped into circulation unnoticed until a few sharp-eyed collectors picked them out of change. Today, those same off-calibration cents stand as a testament to the minting process's fallibility and the serendipity collectors live for. Finding an authentic 1982 broad strike isn't as straightforward as spotting a slipped hub doubling. For one, the degree of broadness varies. Mild examples might only measure 19.5 millimeters, still within mint tolerance, while dramatic broad strikes can exceed 20 millimeters, sometimes reaching 21 millimeters or more. On the obverse, Lincoln's face can appear flattened, with the date and motto pushed toward the center. The reverse's wheat stalks may seem sunken, and in extreme cases, the rim becomes so distorted the words E pluribus unum loop around a warped edge. Weighing the coin helps too. A broad strike may tip the scale at 2.2 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams, thanks to its stretched profile. Unlike double dies, which depend on die misalignment, broad strikes hinge on the collar's failure, an entirely different error category. This rarity in the minting stages meant far fewer broad strikes made it into collectors' hands. Estimates suggest only a few hundred genuine 1982 broad strikes survived, and of those, fewer still remain in high grades. Authentication relies on precise measurements of diameter and thickness, plus examination under low-angle light to reveal the spread. Fake broad strikes can be manufactured by delicately filing down the rim of a regular set. Watch out for inconsistent thickness or tool marks along the edge as red flags. As for current market value, these broad strike scents routinely outperform their face value by orders of magnitude. A well-centered, lightly circulated example graded -50 Australian dollars might sell for $200 to $300. Move up to MS 63 and you're looking at $500 to $700. The real fireworks begin in the MS 65 and above territory. Coins graded MS 66 have recently fetched $1,200 to $1,800 at major auctions. In 2024, a PCGS MS 67 Broad Strike 1982 sold for $2,250, setting a new benchmark for the series. Smaller private sales often hover slightly below auction figures, but demand remains fierce. Any broad strike that clears the 20mm mark in top grade can spark a bidding war. Behind those numbers lie fascinating stories. One collector recounts finding a perfectly preserved broad strike while sorting through an inherited stash of coins, a discovery so dramatic it inspired him to pursue numismatics full-time. Another tale comes from a former Mint employee who quietly saved a small sample of broad strikes, later donating one to the A&A Museum and selling off the rest. Rumor has it that in the early days, Mint quality control teams eyed these oddballs for destruction, but a few slipped past inspectors before they realized what they had. That makes every surviving specimen a rare window into a moment of minting history. Digging deeper, you'll find subtle variations even among broad strikes. Some examples show partial or misapplied mint mark impressions, remnants of dye metal shaving off as the blank thinned too much. Others display toning differences. Those stored in paper rolls have aged to a warm caramel shade, while slab-stored pieces often retain a silvery zinc hue peeking through thin copper plating. Collectors prize the more dramatically toned specimens, believing that the chemical interactions over decades add both character and scarcity, especially when the color highlights the stretched rim. Condition remains king. Broad strikes in average circulated condition, say VF 20 to EF 40, command a modest premium of $100 to $200. Upgrading to uncirculated grades changes everything. In MS 60 and MS 61, you might expect $300 to $400, but slip into MS 63 territory and those figures swell. Not all broad strikes deserve top grades, either. Sometimes the spread is so extreme that the design's artistry suffers, leading graders to dock points. The ideal coin balances a bold, wide rim with crisp details on Lincoln's cheek and the stalks of wheat, a combination that truly captivates both eye and market. Auction records for this penny show a clear upward trend over the past decade. In 2015, a pristine broad strike MS 66 could be had for around $800. By 2020, similar coins commanded $1,200. Now, that same slab stretches toward $1,800 or more. At Stack's Bauer's 2023 World's Fair of Money sale, one MS 67 broad strike garnered a final price of $2,350, an event hailed as proof that modern errors can rival classic rarities in price appreciation. Even small regional coin shows buzz with talk of these cents as entry-level rarities for error collectors looking to build a high-quality collection without breaking bank accounts on early-date coins. Peeking behind the curtain, economic factors also play a role. Zinc's price volatility makes the 1982 experiment a unique footnote in numismatic circles. When zinc markets dipped soon after the transition, the mint paused briefly to adjust, inadvertently halting production of broadbound blanks. That pause slashed potential broad strike output dramatically. Collectors who understand supply dynamics see these pennies as snapshots of commodity-driven design changes, adding another layer of appeal beyond mere visual oddity. Proper storage is non-negotiable for these fragile subjects. Because broad strikes often have thinner edges, they're more prone to bending or surface marks. Lightweight flips or well-fitted capsules protect the extended rim, while humidity control preserves copper plating from flaking. Handling by the rim only, and always with nitrile gloves. prevents oils from dulling the stretched edge. Inadequate care can shave hundreds off a coin's value if nicks or bends appear, so framing them in a stable environment is just as crucial as authentication. Collector forums are alive with discussion of upcoming discoveries. Some dealers suggest that unsearched bank rolls still harbor undiscovered broad strikes, though chances dwindle with each passing year. A recent meetup in Texas featured a workshop on identifying genuine spreading versus post-mint damage, a nod to how crowded the market has become. Even seasoned collectors share tips on where to search, whether it's through large, unsearched estate lots or by targeting certain Federal Reserve branches believed to have received early transition strikes. Before we wrap up, consider how these two pennies, the double die 1987 and the broad strike 1982, bookend a fascinating era of mint experimentation. One misaligned hub, one faulty collar, both yielding treasures that redefine what modern collecting can offer. In our next and final segment, we'll tie these stories together and explore how to weave such finds into a cohesive, high-value collection that spans centuries and minting techniques alike.